Welcome back. I hope you're staying hydrated. I hope you're having a warm winter. It's been very, very cold in Minneapolis for the past couple of days. So I hope you're staying warm and staying hydrated. Drink some tea. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. So I want to start something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Before I even had I've wanted to do this for a long time. And I'm like, let's do it now. So these next couple of videos are going to be, for a minute, are going to be videos from my time back when I went to Nigeria when I was 8 years old. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This American child, can you even survive in Nigeria? And to answer you, no, I damn near didn't. And in fact, I actually almost died. What about that is funny? I don't know, PTSD, trauma, laugh to keep from crying. But no, and I was like, oh, I should totally tell that story. But then I was like, wait, let me tell the story about the entire summer. Because that summer, I'm telling you, that summer was amazing. And I thought I'd share it with my channel. And well, who knows? Hopefully something big happens from it. That's what I'm actually hoping for, genuinely. But I'll keep that manifestation to myself. So sit back, relax, and let me tell you about how when I was 8 years old, I went to Nigeria. So the entire summer starts, of course, with us here in Minneapolis. So myself at 8 years old was going to be traveling with my younger sibling and my grandmother, who I adore. So the memory really starts for me when we were at the gate waiting to board the plane to go to the first destination, Amsterdam, the layover, right? So I'm there with my parents. I'm super excited. And one of my African parents asks another, an African woman who was nearby with what I assumed to be her two sons, oh, hey, if you don't mind, could you please keep an eye out for my mother and my children? And the woman is like, yeah, of course. I'd be happy to do it. I'll watch out for your kids. This is what this woman says. It's like, okay, awesome. And then both of my parents say, all right, bye, and leave. And I don't know why African parents are so weird with goodbyes, especially my parents. I remember when they dropped me off for college, it was also just kind of all right, you're here, bye. And it's just kind of okay. But anyway, that trauma therapy talk conversation aside. So yeah, my parents leave and I'm like, oh, okay. I look at this woman who my African parents just asked us to help, and she's avoiding eye contact with me. Oh, we're on our own. Okay. I came to the conclusion, reflecting on this as an adult, I probably remember this because this is when I really started to panic, most likely at my 8-year-old self. I just didn't have the words for it at that point. I was like, oh, what's happening? So while I'm freaking out internally, but very subconsciously, a woman approaches us and it's like, oh my gosh, how are you? So here's the thing. I look a lot like one of my parents, which will file that also away for therapy talks in the future. And anyone who is grown up in Minnesota, especially in the central Minnesota, Minneapolis, around that area, Minneapolis is around the Twin Cities area and surrounding, we'll say, counties. Anyone who who knows me personally knows that I look a lot like my African parent. And that's pretty much been my identifier for a lot of people. It's oh, so-and-so's daughter, how are you? And it's just kind of awesome. Yeah, this woman would approach us and be like, how are you? Nobody told me that you guys were traveling. And I'm like, yes, please help us. And she was, this woman was like, yes, of course, I will help you guys. Awesome. So we get on the plane, and I remember we had seats where we were comfortable, not we had leg room, and I remember there was a huge TV in front of us, and me and my younger sibling, we were just living it up. I remember we kept pressing the the flight attendant button to the point where one of the flight attendants came and tried to turn it off, and we just turned it back on and kept pressing the button. Just aggravating these flight attendants. It was hilarious. We get to Amsterdam, we land, and we're hustling and bustling about. We get to the next gate. But here's where things kind of take a left turn. So our seats weren't together. There were 2 seats. Remember, there's 3 people in our traveling party, my younger sibling, myself, and my grandmother. There's 3 people amongst us. And unfortunately, one of the seats that is amongst us is further away. And like the woman who was helping us, she notices this and she's like, oh, okay, no worries. Let's talk to a flight attendant to see if she can help you guys. So I think we talked to a flight attendant and like the woman is like, okay, no worries. If anyone whoever owns the seat, if they come, just come get me and I'll talk to them. Cool. The other woman, the African woman who's been helping us, she goes, finds her seat and we all sit down. I am praying that whoever owns this seat does not show up. I am praying that whoever owns this seat does not, hey, you're in my seat. No, it's fine. All right, so my grandmother speaks little to no English. So unfortunately, I'm like, okay, I'm the one who has to go and tell the flight attendant, like, hey, can you please help us? Like, this guy, the person who owns the seat is here. So I tell my grandmother in my native tongue, I'll wait right here, I'll be right back. I run to find the flight attendant, we run back. The flight attendant is like, they speak in some European language, because it was a language I did not understand. And the guy eventually relents and he goes to sit down in the other seat up ahead. Everything's all good. I remember I sit down in my seat and I'm like trying to relax. I'm like, oh, thank goodness that wasn't anything worse than it was. And my grandmother turns to me, who's still on her native tongue, and was telling me how my younger sibling had been fighting with the man who owned the seat. Because the man kept telling my younger sibling, go sit up there. And my younger sibling was like, you go sit up there. And I find that funny. I find that very funny. But yes, eventually we finally land in the airport in Nigeria. I don't know if it's the same. It most likely is the same international airport in Nigeria. I don't know. I was 8 years old. I don't remember. I don't remember like this corner was where this stuff was. I don't remember. Anyway, we land. And I remember we were trying to make our way through the airport. And at one point, all I remember is that there was an escalator and a set of stairs right next to each other. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. As a natural born and bred American, let's take the escalator to get down the stairs. My grandmother's like, no, we're not taking the escalator. And I'm like, why not? It's right here. Let's just take the escalator. It's easier. I'm tired. I'm tired from traveling. So I have no patience to be like, oh, let's take the stairs and walk. No. And my grandmother's like, do not argue with me. We're not taking the stairs. Oh, we're not taking the escalator. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I didn't mention this before, but there are so many people. There are so many people. We in there like a pack of sardines. We cannot escape. We cannot come out.
We're in like a pack of sardines and we cannot escape, we cannot come out. Mama.
Oh my God, there were so many people. And I'm watching as everyone on the escalator is just gliding on down, having the time of their lives, and I'm just like, that's nice. So as I'm watching the people on the escalator, someone at the bottom trips, and then a whole bunch of people fall on top of them, and then chaos ensues. And I was just kind of like, could you imagine if we had taken the escalator? But anyway, we eventually make it to baggage claim. And anyone who has traveled with African parents, especially West African parents, you know that you are traveling with at least 6+ bags, and each bag has a specific mark on it, so you can eventually find it when you get to the airport baggage claim. And remember, it's 8-year-old me trying to hunt down 6 of these big ass bags. I eventually run into the woman who had been helping us thus far on the journey, and I was like, oh, hey, before you leave, can I please take a picture of you so I can show my parents who was helping us when we were traveling? This woman was like, of course. Let me just grab my bags and then I'll meet y'all later. I never saw the rest of the trip. I remember I looked around and she was gone. She must have found her family, probably forgot about us and left. And to be honest, that's fair. Finally, we get all 6 bags, all 6 big black bags. You know those big travel bags. You know which one I'm talking about. We finally get them all packed, and I'm just like, now what? But then a man approaches us, and it's like, oh, speaking to my grandmother in our native tongue. Oh, do you guys need help? My grandma's like, yes. Oh, thank God. Yes. We need help. No worries. He has one of those luggage dollies that you use when you're at the airport. He takes his luggage, puts it down, and then puts our luggages on top. All 6 of them. And then we start to make our way out of the airport. As we're leaving, this man is asking us, oh, so, who is here for you guys? It's like, oh, my grandmother's like, oh, my son should be here any moment. He should be here. And then here comes my uncle. So we all make our way back to the car. They start to load the luggages into the trunk of the car, and I crawl into the back seat, and I'm like, finally. After the entire traveling journey, I was like, I finally just get to be a kid again. I get to relax. I don't have to think about nothing no more. I am relaxed. The men and my uncle finally stopped throwing all the stuff into the luggage, shut the boot, and everyone is on their way, separate ways, you know? So my uncle jumps back into the car, and we start driving, and we're heading to my uncle's place. And my grandmother and my uncle, they're talking. They're like, oh, how are things? How's the flight? Blah, blah, blah. What happened? So as we're driving, and I'm kind of like, I'm not sleeping, but I'm tired. I'm tired, but I'm wired. You know, like when you're finished traveling, you're exhausted, but you're not. And I'm just kind of listening to the conversation. Again, everything's being spoken in our native tongue. To which I remember my uncle saying this verbatim in our native tongue. He's just kind of like, oh, by the way, did you know that man who was helping you guys, the luggage that he had stolen it? And 8-year-old me is sitting in the back seat like, what? What are you talking about? No, that man worked for the airport. I mean, he acted like he worked for the airport. What? I thought that nigga was a manager. That nigga acted like he was the manager. So then, in my adult self, I'm thinking about this, and I'm just kind of like, no, it makes sense. Because let me remind you of the traveling party once more if you weren't paying attention. It is 8-year-old me, clearly an American child, my younger sibling, 6 years old, clearly an American child, and my elderly grandmother. Our entire traveling party screamed, take advantage of us. No, so that man, of course he knew no one was going to question him if he was standing with an elderly woman and 2 young children who were clearly American looking. So he took advantage of us so he could steal a very nice looking bag. And I remember it was like one of those nice looking luggages, the ones that like very expensive luggages. Because I remember his bag was like brown and was really nice, and I was like, oh, nice. And I just find it so funny that was literally the journey there. Whenever I like think about it. And it was just, that was just the first night I was there. So you can imagine what the rest of the summer was actually like. Me and my cousins tearing it up on the streets of Ibadan. Please don't make fun of me. But yeah, for now, that's where I'll leave the story, because I feel like that's the best stopping point. Again, I could talk for hours, but there are so many experiences I would love to share. But I want to make sure I got everything I wrote it on. But yeah, so stay tuned for my first YouTube series of when I was 8 years old, I went to Nigeria. I hope you stay hydrated. I hope you heal.